Still managing that small apartment building? They'd joke. They had no idea I owned half the city's prime properties. The reality was, "So, Daniel, still managing that little apartment building on Oak Street?" My brother Peter asked, smirking over his glass of wine at our weekly family dinner. "Must be exciting, unclogging toilets and chasing down rent checks." I nodded, taking a sip of water while mentally reviewing the 3 major property acquisitions I finalized that morning. The Oak Street building had been my first purchase 8 years ago. A small 12-unit complex that my family saw as proof of my limited ambition. They had no idea it was just the beginning. "Someone has to do it," I replied mildly, hiding my amusement as I thought about the luxury high-rise I now owned across from Peter's law office. He paid premium rent there, never suspecting that his underachieving younger brother was actually his landlord. "You know," my sister, Amanda, chimed in, "there's still time to do something more substantial with your life. I know a guy at Goldman Sachs who's always looking for analysts." I bit back a laugh thinking of the meeting I'd had last week with Goldman's real estate division. They've been practically begging to handle the IPO for my company, Sterling Properties, though they knew it only by its corporate name, not realizing its CEO was sitting at this very table. "Uncomfortable where I am," I said, just as I did every week when my family tried to help me find a real career. My father shook his head, disappointment evident in his expression. "Son, you have such potential. Graduated top of your class in business school, could have gone anywhere, and you chose to become a small-time landlord. If only they knew that their small-time landlord had parlayed that first apartment building into a real estate empire worth over $800 million. That their supposedly underachieving son now owned most of the prime commercial and residential properties in the city. But I've learned long ago that sometimes the best success is the kind nobody sees coming." "How's the new office building working out?" I asked Peter, knowing exactly how it was working out since I personally oversee the recent renovations. "Fantastic," he boasted. "Corner office on the 30th floor. Best views in the city. Though the rent's highway robbery, some investment group called Sterling Properties owns it. Probably some faceless corporation run by greedy executives." I smiled into my wineglass. Sterling Properties was anything but faceless. It was named after my grandmother, the only person who supported my real estate dreams from the beginning. She'd given me the seed money for that first apartment building, believing in me when everyone else thought I was throwing my life away. "Did you hear about the new development going up downtown?" Amanda asked excitedly. "Luxury condos, shopping, offices, it's going to transform the whole area. My firm's hoping to get some of the legal work when they break ground." "I heard about that." I replied casually that I actually spent my morning reviewing the final architectural plans. The $200 million development was my biggest project yet, though as far as my family knew, I was still just collecting rent checks on Oak Street. My phone buzzed. A text from my project manager about the development. "City Council approved all permits. We can start construction next week." Probably another message about a clogged drain, Peter joked, noticing my phone. The glamorous life of a building manager. I excused myself to take the call, stepping into our parents' elegant garden. Behind me, I could hear my family's voices drift through the open window. "Poor Daniel," my mother sighed. "If only he'd taken that job at Morgan Stanley after graduation. He could have been someone by now." "At least he's honest work," Dad replied. "Though I wish he'd shown more ambition. His cousin James just made partner at his investment firm." I smiled, remembering the meeting I'd had with James' firm last month. They've been pitching hard to handle Sterling Properties' portfolio, never realizing they were presenting to the cousin they pity at family gatherings. Back inside, the conversation had turned to the city's real estate boom. My family loved discussing property values and development projects, never suspecting that the person driving much of that growth was sitting right at their table. "The old Harrison Hotel downtown just sold for $50 million, Peter announced. "Can you believe it? Some mystery buyers swooped in and paid cash." I nodded thoughtfully, remembering signing those papers just yesterday. The Harrison would be the crown jewel of my hotel division once renovations were complete. "Must be nice," Amanda said wistfully, having that kind of money to throw around. Meanwhile, Daniel's still collecting quarters from laundry machines. If she only knew about the offshore accounts, the investment portfolios, the properties registered under layers of L&C. I built my empire in secret using my family's assumptions about me as the perfect cover. After dinner, I drove to my apartment, actually the penthouse of one of my luxury buildings. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered stunning views of the city skyline dotted with properties I owned, hotels, office towers, apartment complexes, shopping centers. My assistant had left the latest acquisition proposals on my desk. Another lawyer's office looking to lease premium space. I made a note to offer Peter's firm some competition. A restaurant group wanting to expand into my retail locations. A tech company needing an entire floor of my downtown tower. My phone buzzed again. This time, my lead broker with news about another potential acquisition. Owners of the Riverside development finally willing to sell. Asking $125 million. Should I make an offer? I texted back an affirmative, then walked to my window wall. The Riverside property would connect several of my existing developments, creating a continuous stretch of sterling properties on real estate along the most valuable waterfront in the city. 8 years ago, when I bought that first small apartment building, my family had been almost embarrassed. Their brilliant son with his MBA and stellar prospects, choosing to become a mere landlord. They tried everything to change my mind, but I had seen something they hadn't. That small building had been perfectly positioned for the city's coming growth. I leveraged it to buy 2 more properties, then 4, then 10. Each acquisition carefully chosen, each property improved and maximized for value. I used different company names, hidden ownership structures, discrete banking relationships. As far as the public knew, Sterling Properties was a major real estate investment firm run by anonymous executives. As far as my family knew, I was still just managing that first apartment building on Oak Street. The next morning, I arrived early at my downtown office. The real one, not the small property management office I kept for show. The Wall Street Journal was on my desk, featuring an article about the mysterious Sterling Properties and its growing real estate empire. Sources say the company's CEO is a young business school graduate who's quietly become one of the biggest property owners in the region, the article read. Though their identity remains unknown, their impact on the city's development is undeniable. I smiled, remembering yesterday's family dinner. If they only knew that the small-time landlord they pitied was actually reshaping the entire city skyline. My intercom buzzed my real assistant this time, not the part-time property manager I employed for appearances. Mr. Sterling, the investment committee is ready for you in the main conference room, and the architects for the Riverside development are here to present their initial designs. I straightened my tie, checking that my visitors list was clear of any family members who might accidentally discover my secret. Another day of building my empire while the world and my family remained oblivious to who was really behind it all. The revelation happened on a Tuesday morning in the most unexpected way. I was sitting in my private conference room at Sterling Properties headquarters, reviewing plans for the Riverside development when my assistant's voice came through the intercom. Mr. Sterling, there's a Peter Wilson here from Maxwell & Partners law firm. He's here for the lease negotiation meeting. My heart stopped. Peter Wilson. My brother, Peter, wasn't supposed to be here. His firm's managing partner was supposed to handle the meeting. Sir, my assistant prompted. Should I send him in? I had seconds to decide. I could hide in my private office, send someone else to handle the meeting. But sooner or later, this moment was bound to come. Maybe it was time. Send him in. The door opened and Peter walked in, his eyes fixed on his phone as he reviewed notes. I'm here to meet with Daniel Sterling about our lease renewal. The managing partner had a conflict, so I'll be handling. He looked up and froze. For a long moment, we just stared at each other. My brother, impeccable in his $1,000 suit, standing in my conference room. Me, his underachieving younger brother, sitting at the head of the table in front of architectural plans worth millions. Daniel, his voice cracked. What are you? Why are you? Hello, Peter, I said calmly. Please have a seat. We should discuss your firm's lease terms. He didn't move. You work for Sterling Properties? Not exactly. I gestured to the nameplate on my desk. I am Sterling Properties. He sank into a chair, his face pale. That's impossible. Sterling Properties is worth they own half the city. Actually, closer to 60% of prime commercial real estate now, I corrected. The Riverside development will push it to 65. The Riverside, his eyes widened as connections started forming. The Harrison Hotel purchase, the downtown development Amanda was talking about. That was all you? I nodded. Would you like to see the portfolio? For the next hour, I walked him through it all. The properties, the developments, the acquisitions, 8 years of empire building while my family thought I was just collecting rent checks. Does anyone else know? He finally asked. The family? No. Just you now. I leaned back in my chair. Though I suppose that's about to change. He looked at me sharply. Why did you keep it secret? All these years letting us think. Letting you think what, Peter? That I was a failure. That I wasted my potential. I stood up, walking to the window wall. You all made it very clear what you thought of my career choice. We were wrong, he said quietly. Yes, I agreed. You were. My phone buzzed. A message from Amanda. Family dinner tonight. Don't forget. I showed Peter the text. Shall we tell them together? The drag to our parents' house that evening felt different. Peter was uncharacteristically quiet in his car ahead of me. I followed him up the familiar driveway knowing everything was about to change. You're late, Mom called from the kitchen. Amanda was just telling us about the new client she landed. She trailed off, seeing our expressions. Is everything okay? Dad asked, looking between us. Peter cleared his throat. You might want to sit down. There's something you need to know about Daniel. Over the next hour, I laid it all out. The properties, the developments, the empire I built while they dismissed me as a small-time landlord. I showed them articles about Sterling Properties, architectural renderings of my projects, financial statements that made their eyes widen. $800 million, Amanda whispered, staring at the numbers. You're worth $800 million. That's last quarter's valuation. I corrected. The Riverside development should push it over $1 billion. But you drive a Toyota, Mom stammered. It's a good car. I shrugged. Reliable. Like that first apartment building, everyone thought was such a waste of time. Dad hadn't spoken yet. He sat in his favorite chair looking at me like he'd never seen me before. All those family dinners, he finally said. All those times we tried to help you find a real career. You just sat there and let you show me exactly who you were. I finished every smirk, every dismissive comment, every pitying look. It was educational. Educational? Amanda's voice rose. It was cruel, letting us make fools of ourselves. Cruel? I turned to her, like suggesting I get an entry-level job at your friend's company, like mocking my little apartment building every chance you got. That kind of cruel. The room fell silent. The truth is, I continued more softly, I kept it secret at first because I needed to prove something to myself. But then I saw how you all acted when you thought I was struggling. The condescension, the superiority, the absolute certainty that your paths were better than mine. So this was revenge? Peter asked. No. I shook my head. This was a mirror. I just let you see yourselves clearly. Mom started crying. Dad looked like he aged 10 years. Amanda kept staring at her phone, probably calculating how many times she inadvertently insulted one of the city's biggest developers, the Riverside development, she said suddenly. My firm was hoping to get that legal work already assigned. I cut her off to a firm that didn't spend years mocking its client. Peter shifted uncomfortably, probably thinking about his own firm's lease negotiation about the office space. Your lease terms will remain fair, I assured him. I don't mix business with family, though apparently, I'm the only one who feels that way. The next few weeks were awkward. My family struggled to reconcile their image of Daniel the landlord with the reality of who I was. They oscillated between apologetic and resentful, not sure whether to be proud of my success or angry at my deception. The local business press had a field day when my identity was finally revealed. Mystery developer unmasked, read one headline. Sterling Properties CEO hidden in plain sight declared another. My phone filled with messages from relatives who dismissed me for years, now suddenly eager to reconnect. Investment opportunities, business proposals, lunch invitations, all from people who wouldn't have given me the time of day a month ago. I ignored them all. Instead, I focused on what I did best: building, developing, growing my empire. The Riverside development broke ground on schedule. The Harrison Hotel renovation proceeded according to plan. New opportunities arose daily. 6 months after the revelation, I hosted a family dinner at my penthouse. They'd never been there before, had never even known it existed. Watching them take in the spectacular views, the elegant furnishings, the obvious wealth, I felt no triumph, only a quiet sadness for all the years wasted on false assumptions and misconnections. I have an announcement, I said as we sat down to eat. Sterling Properties is going public next month. The IPO should value the company at around $2 billion. They absorbed this in silence. You could have told us sooner, Mom said finally. We're your family. Are we? I asked quietly. For 8 years, you showed me exactly what kind of family you were. Every dismissive comment, every condescending suggestion, every pitying look, that was family. We were wrong, Dad admitted, but you have to understand, we thought we were helping. We wanted you to succeed. No, I corrected him. You wanted me to succeed your way on your terms, following your paths. You never once considered that I might know what I was doing. And now Amanda asked what happens now. I looked out at my city because it was my city now, shaped by my vision, transformed by my work. Now I said we start over, but this time, we do it honestly. No more assumptions, no more judgments, no more trying to force each other into boxes we've created. And the company? Peter asked. We'll continue to grow, but not through family connections or favors. Success should be earned, not inherited. They nodded slowly, finally understanding. Today, Sterling Properties is worth over $3 billion. We own properties across the country, developing communities, shaping skylines, building something lasting. My family? We're building something too. Something harder than real estate empires, but more valuable. Real relationships based on truth and mutual respect rather than appearances and expectations. Peter's firm still leases office space in my building, but now he negotiates directly with my team. No special treatment. Amanda's firm occasionally handles legal work for smaller projects earned through competitive bidding. Mom and Dad are learning to be proud of what I've built, not what they wish I'd built. And me? I still drive that Toyota. Still visit that first apartment building on Oak Street. Still remember the lessons learned while building an empire in secret. Because sometimes the biggest successes aren't the ones you can see in a skyline. Sometimes they're the ones that teach you and those around you what really matters.